Welcome back to a new episode. Last week we welcomed a little sheep family to Sunhill Farm. We continued working on the coach roof and we got it laminated and in place. First day where we were both out here working on the boat in a really long time, since before summer really.
Yeah.
So Vera is now in school. She has started school, very big girl now. And today I will continue with the tabbing that I've been doing for a long time.
Yeah, and I will continue with the front of that Coachroof panel that I did last week.
A lot of measuring first.
Yeah, will be quite a lot of preparations for that.
I'm just preparing all the tools now. It's another warm day. So in a while I guess it's going to be pretty warm in here.
Yeah.
Especially when you're up on deck because it is so warm close to the ceiling.
So I'm trying to make my own 2D cutting file here, and normally we just use the 3D drawing, bring out the panel, maybe flatten it and use that as a cutting file. But in this case I think it's easier to just use the real measurements from the boat because it will be more accurate in this case. So what I have done is that I have measured the line that we have at the deck level here and divided that by 32. So we have 32 sections here, or 32 points. And then I stop at each point and try to find the shortest distance between that point and the coach roof deck up here. And I write that number down, and then I can transfer all these numbers into the computer and creating two fair curves that are flat. And I can use that as a cutting file to cut a flat panel that will later on fit in here once we have this bend in it. This is all in theory, so we'll see how it turns out in the end. I guess there will be some cutting in this panel probably afterwards to make it fit perfectly. And of course I need also to make some curve cuts at this radius here to be able to bend that PT foam around the corner. So at each and every marking that I now have on the deck, I put the ruler at that point like this, and then I just swing it back and forth like this, trying to find the shortest distance in between here. And I do that on each and every point and write that number down. Yeah, so it will be interesting to see how this turns out. And of course, if this panel fits perfectly on this side, I can just flip it and use the same cutting file for the starboard side.
I've now spent a couple of hours on cutting up material so I can do more tabbing in one go without having to stop. So I now have a bunch of fiberglass, the 2 different layers that we're using, and the pill ply that we're finishing with. So now I can continue with the tabbing. I'm in the guest cabin right now.
Is that the first layer?
Yeah. And as you can see, there are a lot of joints to tab. All of these there, up here, 4 underneath. I know how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, they're around 20.
And all the edges needs to be rounded off as well.
All of these sharp edges, we have to round these off first. Yeah, to get the fiberglass to conform and really fold over. And so I will wait with those, but there are still around 20 to do in here.
Okay, so my cutting file from my manual measurements are now finished, and this is how it looks. Don't know if you can see that. So this line here is the Coachroof line, and the line down here is the deck line. And as you can see, the line around the deck here is not 100% fair in this area. And I don't know if that's because this is a developed 2D piece from a 3D piece, so to say. And maybe this will clean up once we have that radius in there and the piece is in place. I don't know. I've made these measurements at that corner multiple times just to check, but they come out the same all the time, so it should be correct. But my guess is that I will have to do a lot of trimming to get this piece in place, even if it should be quite accurate. But even so, it's nice to be able to use the router for this, and this cutting file should also work on the starboard side, of course, because that's the challenge here, getting that Coachroof and the sides of it to look symmetrical on both sides. So, time to start cutting this and see how it turns out. I have divided this into 3 smaller pieces, just to be a bit more efficient with the PT foam, so that we don't waste too much of that. So it looks like the cutting file will work, but I'm not so sure about the corner pieces here. For the centerpiece, it's really no problem. I will just make another one of these, mirrored, and glue them together and follow both the deck line and the Coachroof line, and make sure that we have the same fair bend across there. And then for the side pieces, it's pretty straightforward, not a lot of bend to it, and you just follow the line at the Coachroof and the deck, the side deck line there. So the problem is here in the corners, because we have a different radius up here compared to down at deck level, and it changes over height here or over distance. And now when I'm trying this with the piece from the cutting file, it will be pretty problematic getting a fair curve that matches both of these radiuses.
After some thinking about the corner pieces, Johan decided to use an already laminated panel instead. to save time and because it was easier to get symmetry between the pieces. This is the first time that we grow tomatoes, and it has worked okay for not growing them in a greenhouse, but it's really difficult to get good supports. And this is, as you know, a windy place, so these little bamboo sticks, they don't hold up the branches at all. The farmer who is owning the fields around us, he's picking up stones today, and he told me that they sowed rapeseed yesterday. So that's what we're gonna have next year. So it will be all yellow fields around the farm. But look at this. Not too bad. Gonna have tomatoes for lunch today. And I bought a burrata cheese yesterday, so maybe we'll have a little salad for lunch. And I have to show you our pumpkins that are growing like crazy. They're really taken over kitchen garden and outside. And these are just 2 plants. And they're actually seeds that I got from a couple that came to our Patreon open house last summer. So I pre-sowed this during spring, and look at how many pumpkins we have now. And it's so big. It's over here, growing all the way here.
So the corner pieces are now in place, and as you can see, they are fully laminated. I decided to, instead of using just PT foam for the corners and laminate them afterwards, I decided to use an already laminated panel and cut the same shape from the cutting file that I had, and then using curve cutting on the inside on these. And that turned out to work really well. And I think that I have a pretty good symmetry now between the starboard and port side on how the curve looks. So they are now glued in place. And the next step will be to fit the piece in the middle here. And for this, I'm also going to use a panel that already have glass on both sides. But I'm going to cut a few relief cuts on the outside to make it easier to follow the slight bend that we have here in the front.
Jag känner, det känns där. Oj. Ja, det var nice. This will be a perfect place for a sundowner.
Definitely.
Imagine that we're sitting here in
4 years, maybe?
4 years in a warm place, in a nice anchorage,
Yeah.
watching the sunset.
Yeah, this will be a great spot. So what do you think about the symmetry? Do you think I've managed to get it close enough?
Yeah, I think so. I think it looks good. And of course it is harder to see now since it's different materials and looks of it. It will be completely different when it's one color on all of this.
And it's not finished. We need to, of course, glass this whole surface, tab the whole thing in, as with everything.
And some fairing and sanding on this
fairing,
as well.
longboarding. So in the end, I think it will look perfect. But I think...
You're happy with the result?
I'm happy with my work, actually.
And all the measuring paid off?
Yes. It was a crazy amount of measuring. Yeah, it was a pretty long process getting this right. And I wasn't 100% sure how I should make it work in the beginning. But
it did.
Yeah, in the end it worked out great.
I think it's great that we can use these panels and make those curve cuts.
Yeah.
It's such a great way to make the rounded shapes and all of that.
Definitely.
And especially that we could reuse some old panels that were already laminated.
Yeah,
so
save some time.
At least we saved some time there.
Yeah.
So the Coachroof is really coming to life now.
Yeah, and it's also pretty big. I mean, this will also be a great place. I mean, I can't use all of it now since it's only supported until here.
I'm surprised how big it really is, because when you look at pictures of the boat, like we have one down there, of the finished boat, this looks pretty small compared to the deck house. thinking now, how big is the deck house gonna be? It's gonna look massive.
It's going to be 12 to 14 square meters, something like that. The roof.
Surface of the roof.
Yeah. So that's definitely not possible to do in one piece.
Thanks a lot for watching this week's episode, and we want to say hi to some new patrons that we got during the last week. Thanks a lot for supporting our production, the making of these videos. You really make it possible for us to share this whole process, building process. So take care, and we see you again next week.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.